us or coming back, whatever it may be. So we've got Dane versus Shawn Ellie. And so we've seen Shawn before. He is a two-time WizKids Open champion. He also won his game on stream previously. He spoke with us for a little bit about getting ready for this event. And so we're fixing Shawn's name on the display here. And so Dane also has a full arts arena. So we've got two very experienced players. Okay, so Dane, there looks like high roll to go first. So Dane rolled 12. Dane is going to go first. Going first in this matchup seems like it would be an enormous advantage. So we've got Dane has the Swords of Revealing Light, which is going to be the same effect as the Relentless Global that you've seen. I actually think there's a big advantage to bringing Swords of Revealing Light over bringing Relentless. That advantage is players who aren't familiar with all the cards will dismiss the global, and when they dismiss the global, you can then surprise them a little bit more with it. This is a head game that will not work on very experienced players, but it is a pretty fair advantage, especially because you don't expect to actually buy the basic action die itself. In the event that your opponent wants to buy that basic action die, it's a value call for what your team does, whether or not Swords is better for them to have or whether it's better for them to have Relentless. So Dane is really studying Shawn's team, because he's probably also surprised, like, wow, this guy did not bring the Professor X Global. Interesting thing about Dane is that in the previous round, he played Robert from round 1 and defeated Robert's Jinzo team. Might be oversimplifying things by calling it a Jinzo team, but it gets the message across from those of you who watched that game with us. So it's gonna be interesting. One of the characters I really like in this matchup is Venom. Between Venom and Hulk, you can get a lot of board wiping damage. It's going to be troublesome for Shawn if he tries to go with the Lord of D-Ring combo. Really good that Shawn has opted to bring Psylocke. Based on his conversation with us earlier, he doesn't believe that Beast is a good pick, because even if Beast is the best blocker, you don't get a chance to block Swords of Revealing Light, direct damage. There's just so many answers, and I think that's a really, really fair evaluation of what's going to happen here. But both players have come to this game with a great attitude. No matter what happens here, I'm confident that they're going to go on and do really well at this event, even on to tomorrow and playing in the national championships and not just the qualifier. So really, really curious to see how this one plays out. I think between Canopic Jar and Black Widow, Dane might have a speed advantage. I don't know how it's going to play out exactly. Shawn was looking lovingly into the camera while he spoke to someone on the phone. Really, really eager to see this game. So if you kind of zoom in a little bit, a mental zoom in, if you would, on Dane's strategy. Dane's strategy is very, very similar to some of the successful teams from the EVX-only era. Dane's strategy is very similar to even Uncanny-only era strategy, or Uncanny and EVX strategy. But he's peppered in Canopic Jar, he's peppered in Swords of Revealing Light, and the Doom Caliber to really, when he wants to, he's going to try and lock down that game. He's going to stop the damage. Enrage is a really, really cool choice for what Dane is doing, because Dane is not doing anything gimmicky. He's playing zero bolt characters. He's effectively communicating, when I get bolts, they are generic or they are damage. And one of the great things about the timing here is that he's going to be able to attack, and then after he attacks and there are blockers, he's going to put that damage where it needs to be. He's going to KO the blocker, or he's going to deal the damage to his opponent as he sees fit. Gives him a lot of flexibility. it appears that we have all the players seated, and we should begin any moment. Ooh, it appears that some players have begun. I'm going to check in with the judge to see if we should have started the round. So, for those of you watching at home, the players at the top table didn't hear the announcement that they might begin the game, and I didn't either. So, they of course said, "Ask the guy from WizKids," and I had to find someone else. So, other good news for those of you who are interested in hero clicks is that the Avengers ID cards are available here today for the first time, and those cards are now live on the West, and you can input them and get the achievements accordingly. I told some interesting information and sort of lost track of what. Okay, so Dane has purchased a Black Widow die, and Professor X ramped for 1. So he's figuring out what dice he wants to keep and what she's gonna reroll. Oh, so Shawn bought a Psylocke. So Shawn might be trying to use the mask energies from Psylocke to out-ramp Dane. Venom being able to spin down the fist characters like Zarina could be an interesting problem for both players. But Dane is going and buying more Zarinas. He is potentially going to fuel his Venom Global, his Doomcal Global. He's going to potentially buy Spider-Man. So Spider-Man might be a really perfect way for him to come back from high. Shawn emphatically points at Professor X for my benefit. So Shawn is rolling 7 dice. Boom. Okay. So he's quickly evaluating which energies he wants and which he does not. So one of the really cool things about Psylocke, and I imagine one of the reasons that Shawn chose to bring it, is that early game it's a great buy. Mid game, it's a good body for the price. Ooh, buying a ring of buying prismatic spray. Okay, and so Shawn's hope is to pin down Dane with prismatic spray. He is going to stop Dane's ramp starting next turn. He hopes. So Dane could be okay with that ramp. It's kind of unfortunate. The issue is that Shawn will be able to use Dane's ramp while Dane can't because of prismatic spray. This is the moment where not having Professor X is the advantage. Actually not having it, not simply selecting not to use it. Because if Shawn were to have a Professor X on his team, Dane could just use that global while his own Professor X was blanked from prismatic spray. As a result, now, so Dane is just in a whole different ballgame than he usually is. But Dane's bag could easily just become thick with characters here. So spends 2, buys another Zarina, spends 1 to field a Zarina and a sidekick. So Dane passes. I'm not sure if Dane. Okay, so Dane. Oh, so Dane is probably going to distract his Zarinas to get some free damage here. So Shawn is down to 16. Oh no, Dane does not distract his Zarinas to keep them around. So that's a little bit of a surprise. So Shawn is rolling all his dice. There's a 75% chance that prismatic spray happens here. So far, it is not happening. So 50% chance remaining that. So Shawn is down to 10. Ramp or not? This could get out of control. Shawn is re-rolling 7 of his 10 dice. And Shawn misses Prismatic Spray. That could be the deciding factor for this game, that Shawn missed Prismatic Spray at such a key juncture. He looks really frustrated. That's an unfortunate roll. I think he also might have gotten the character face on Quan and the Assassin when he doesn't need it. It's good die wrong time. So Shawn doesn't have an energy fixer like Blue Eyes White Dragon that he could field without using the effect and really get a big benefit. So Shawn buys Lord of D. I really like Lord of D. I haven't seen him used extensively yet, but it's tough to not like that guy. Very iconic Yu-Gi-Oh character of Seto Kaiba's, and he's gonna really mess with your opponent's ability to target the characters that they want to target. Okay, Dane looks like he's re-rolling almost all of his dice, if not all of them. So he's figuring out what he'd like to re-roll and what he'd like to keep. And he's really just trying to figure out, is this enough damage for game? And it's probably very close. So this is where the enrage comes in. The bolts are damage. There's a chance that, you know, Shawn's magic missile comes into play here too. That Shawn can just deal the damage wherever Dane tries to pump the attack. But that is why Dane brings Caliber Knight. That Shawn is going to have different timing. Shawn's going to have to commit to doing the damage during the main step before Dane has committed the bolts. So, really curious. So Shawn is thinking about this. Shawn knows there are tough decisions ahead of him. So, uses a mask for the global ability on Swords of Revealing Light. Psylocke is no longer able to block this turn. Okay, Dane is probably doing a little bit of math in his head, figuring out, oh, I think that the level Psylocke is on, she can spin down 1 and prevent 2 of the damage, so there's going to be 4 damage, and then the rest would come from attackers. So, a lot of people talk about the art on Dice Master stuff. And distraction, we've seen a lot of it today because of who we've had in different places. Distraction is one of the pieces of art we get the most compliments on. And I think it's such a great picture because you've got some pretty serious characters like Galactus and Silver Surfer playing baseball with Spider-Man. And that's really, you know, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's everything's a big joke. Okay, so, yeah, Shawn used the Magic Missile Global during the main step to KO 2 Zarinas. So Dane is still going to attack, and it's going to make him untargetable because why not? Why not do himself the favor? So Shawn's nodding. He's going to spin down his Psylocke, so he's going to avoid the 2 damage from the effect. And there's +1 attack on, it looks like there's +1 attack on the Zarina that is not going to be able to be blocked because Swords has prevented Psylocke from doing so. So I think Shawn is about to take 4 damage total, and it's going to leave Dane with no ramp and no field. Yeah, so before taking the damage, Shawn is going to use Press X's Global twice, and the 3rd time, because why not? So Shawn goes really low. Shawn is inevitably low, I think. That I don't know that there's a way for him to recover. So he's Prismatic Spray probably doesn't matter at this point. But he missed it anyway. Lord of D might be too late for it to matter at this point. Dane doesn't have effects that really target in a meaningful way for this situation. So Let's see what Shawn is planning. So he's still in the big reroll. What do I want? Step, I think. Oh, okay, good. Let's see what happens here. This is big roll. Oh, and sidekick. Okay, so Lord of Dia's energies. That's probably a game over for Shawn at this point, because I don't think he has the resources to spin anyone else down. So Zarina is going to attack and move him two life down to 0. Okay. So 3 energy, bring a magazine. Shawn is gonna play until the fat lady sings on this one. And that is absolutely the way that you need to play if you're going to play at this level and you're going to try and do well. So it appears like Shawn just spent energy and didn't do anything. So, he's like, oh yeah, I meant to buy 2 ring of magazines. That makes sense. He is gonna increase his odds for next turn. So, if there had only been 1 Black Widow in Dane's prep area, that would mean that there's a 75% chance the Black Widow is coming through for the win this turn. But there were 2, so it is much better than that. It is probably a 12.5% chance of him missing. Oh, sorry, 6.25% chance or so of Dane missing the 2 damage via Black Widows. Okay, so I don't believe, unless I'm seeing that wrong, I don't think Shawn can spin down far enough to save himself here. This is one of those times that Vibranium Shield would be a very big deal card, because you're going to have a scenario that somebody goes and says, hey, prevent that damage, and it buys me the turn. Damage prevention and life gain are often weak effects, but when they buy you time. Oh, okay, boom. So Shawn's able to use Magic Missile to keep in the game. This is going to be super important. He used an arguably better global to the same effect of buying that time. Dane is trying to plan what he wants to do going forward, because there are only so many turns in a row that Shawn can roll and miss on Prismatic Spray. There's just a finite number of turns. So let's see. Dane is buying a Magic Missile die. So, Magic Missile, in its basic action die form of dealing 2 damage to a character or player, has a special ability that helps if you're playing adventurers. And neither of these players are playing adventurers. So, to some extent, if you just look at it for what it is, you think, oh, well, it's better than Powerbolt in every single way, because it's got the global, it's got an extra effect. And it misses a key piece of the equation, which is, if you're just trying to play it for the global, but your opponent is using adventurers and you're not, they can reap the benefit that you don't have access to. So there's a risk, and I think that additional risk is an important balancing effect that Mike and Eric have managed to touch on. So Mike and Eric are the game designers. Always excited to see how they manage to kind of fit things together. So Shawn's carefully thinking this one out. Shawn is going to need a lot of bolt energy if he wants to keep Magic Missiling all of the Black Widows. So it's gonna reroll. Oh, does that? Yeah, big reroll. So okay, Ring of Magnetism is live. Prismatic Spray is live. If Shawn comes back from this, we'll all be super impressed because it's just so incredible to overcome such a deficit of being one action away from losing the game effectively. You know, that Powerball, or not Powerball, that Magic Missile purchase from Dane is actually super insightful, which is, hey, Shawn doesn't have an answer to this. But Shawn does now. Shawn has the Ring of Magnetism that Dane would be forced to target a Ring of Magnetism character instead of targeting Shawn. The forced target is a big deal. There's a series of ways for Dane to win, and there's a series of counters that Shawn is going to try and use. So Shawn's got two wilds, 2 masks, and a shield. Dane is going to have to try and get through with a Black Widow. And he's going to need to have either more than one Black Widow. We got a judge. Good. Okay, so there's a question going on as far as how Ring of Magnetism should function in this scenario. And Ring of Magnetism is no doubt a complicated card because it's going to determine where effects have to go, and it's going to work if there are multiples. So the judge is reviewing the card and the scenario. Someone has looked at me expectantly as if I should make this ruling, and the judge has made a ruling on this that the characters are the legal targets. So Dane is gonna deal 1 damage to the character of the Magic Missile. With the Magic Missile Global, I should set to be specific. It's really going to start mattering since we've had Dane purchase a Magic Missile die. If each turn Dane is able to work through 2 Ring of Magnetisms, it's gonna be really surprising because he's gonna be purchasing more Magic Missile dice. Arguably, there reaches a point at which Shawn purchases a Magic Missile die just to deny Dane the opportunity. I don't know if we'll get there. I think this is the most interesting game that we've watched all day, honestly, because despite the fact that there's such a huge life deficit, you think, oh, he could pull it out. He could climb the mountain. Okay, so granted, Shawn needs things like what just happened to happen to him. He needs the rolls to go a little bit in his favor and a little bit against Dane. So Dane is sitting on some fist energy here. He's got 2 fists, a shield, and a bolt. He can't ramp with this. He can make purchases with it, but at 4, it's uncertain what he'd want to grab. He's probably thinking about Magic Missile. And he's probably thinking, does my desire to purchase this die go down if my opponent is going to have Ring of Magnetism out again? This is a tough decision point for Dane. And it's not tough in the sense he's in a bad position. It's tough in the sense he's in a good spot and doesn't want to make the wrong move and ruin it. I don't even know exactly what I believe the right answer is here. It's one of those things I wish that we had like a chess engine where after someone makes the move, it shows the difference of, oh, this is what their advantage was and this is what it is. So Shawn is feeling around in his bag to kind of check and estimate how much he's going to be able to do next turn. So Dane's trying to confirm things about board position. The brainstorming and the trying to figure it out moments are, I'm sure, not the most exciting thing for those of you watching us here. So I'd forgotten all about Shawn's ability to use the Iceman Global. So Shawn just used Iceman to turn his sidekicks into Bolt Energy. And so there's going to be a lot of Magic Missile effects. We're gonna see a lot of damage to well, could have been more, but so Shawn is probably not trying to break his own ramp. Oh, no, there's okay. This game might go to time. That is Shawn giving money to a friend, not paying off a judge, in case anyone is curious about it. Okay, so spends his bolts, KOs, Dane's sidekicks, uses Professor X's global. Well, I'm not sure what Dane's going to want to do. Okay, so Dane buys another Zarina and passes. So he's got a shield and a bolt. So he's probably saving the bolt for Magic Missile, and he's saving the shield because there just simply was not a way for him to spend it. So high level of nuance. Are you better off spending the shield or spending down the Black Widow from one fist to two fists? I think I hate to say it. I really think it's irrelevant in this situation, and I wish every tiny decision was relevant every time. But it's good to alleviate the mental tax on players for things like that to not always count. So Morphing Jar Canopic Jar was a card that people couldn't help but look at and say, wow, this guy is pretty crazy. Yet here we see him sitting on the sidelines. He's not getting purchased this game. He'd be really good between Distraction, Swords of Revealing Light, and the Professor X Global. So Shawn gets some dice going for himself and passes. So Lord of D is finally fielded, and we're about to enter the Lord of D ring combo, which is when Ring of Magnetism is on Lord of D, no one can target characters. Or sorry, your opponent cannot target characters, and your opponent can't target you with things that might also target characters. Okay. So right now, Shawn doesn't have the resources to spin down characters, but Shawn also has 3 bolts for Magic Missile. I'm really eager to talk to Dane about this game after the fact. Right now, next to the game, we have someone, Robert, you'll remember from an earlier round. He's opening his gravity feed of Justice League and is super calm about it, but the spectators went from watching this fantastic game to watching him just open packs, and man, both are really exciting. We've picked for you though if you're watching at home. So Lord of D is cool. One of the things I really get super excited about with Dice Masters is that Lord of D is dragon-oriented dude, and as a dragon-oriented dude, he does not discriminate. He loves the dragons from Dungeons & Dragons. He shares the wealth with any other dragons that you go out and find. There's, Dragon Man from the Marvel Universe, who hasn't received a Dice Masters treatment yet, but Lord of D is waiting with open arms for him. There's a certain feel that certain types of characters have, and I think that's really part of the magic of Dice Masters being all different brands, is that you say, oh, what does a spy feel like? Okay, well, so Black Widow, yeah, that's a spy feeling. And then you get other sneaky spy characters, and they've got their own unique twist on it, but wow, yeah, you get that feeling that they're a spy. Dragons? Okay, so D&D has Breath Weapon, and no doubt, Breath Weapon has a dragon feel. But the other guys, Thousand Dragon, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Red Eyes, Bee Dragon, and all of those characters also have their own distinct, this is a dragon feel to them. So, really cool to see that communicate so strongly to the players. Okay, so Dane is trying to figure. I think Dane is trying to figure out, can he do this? So he KO. So this is important. Dane KOs Shawn's sidekicks before Shawn can use the Iceman Global to spin them to bolts and use them to KO. So Shawn now spins down, Lord of D blocks Zarina. Shawn is buying time climbing the hill, but he's still not dealing any damage to Dane. It's really mind-blowing. There's a very large chance that this game just ends up going to time, because the number of actions required by Shawn to actually win the game is so large. Okay, so let's see. So that Psylocke is almost definitely getting real. Even the fact that typing on Ring of Magnetism is just good enough, being a mask, that it provides a really big advantage. I'm gonna need to get some tips from these guys later, because these are teams I never would have thought of. Okay, and the shake and the roll. Okay, so we've got the ring. Okay, Lord of D ring. So Shawn could be in trouble because of Psylocke not coming up a character. I'm not sure if he can spin Lord of D down again. And he's got access to plenty of bolts between Iceman and just, I guess, the natural bolts, you could say. But it's tough, because if he spends that Psylocke now... Okay. Yep, so... One Nova. Shawn's purchase of Nova indicates he believes the game will go long enough for Nova to provide a significant advantage to him, versus purchasing something else to try and give him the more surefire, short-term help that he needs. Whoa, looks like 3 Zarinas and a double fist. I think that Dane needs to just try and get the free Zarinas. So he's gonna re-roll the double fist Zarina. There's an interesting trade-off here. Before I was talking about how you can either have be huge or be cheap, and those are the sides that are going to define the dice as far as what makes them good. Zarina is in a scenario where she, at her top face, has a better defense, but it's going to cost a little bit more for you to get out there. Kind of surprised that the Venom Global hasn't come to bite Dane yet. That I haven't seen a scenario where spinning down has been part of what's helped. So it makes, despite the fact that I think Venom is a fantastic card, and I think Zarina is also a fantastic card, no doubt, to play them together worries me. because my opponent can spin down my Zarina and take advantage of its low defense. In the same way that I don't think Ant-Man is a good pairing for Venom. I think Venom is a great counter to Ant-Man. Like Venom Magic Missile is going to cause tons of problems for those Ant-Man, Nick Fury teams. As some people refer to it, high hopes, but those combo kills are just going to end up being disastrous. Okay, so Shawn rolls. Okay, so uses Prismatic Spray. So the constant use of Prismatic Spray is going to eliminate the ability to use Professor X's Global. Yeah. Okay, so this is the first time Prismatic Spray has sprayed in a way that is productive. Oh, so Shawn only rolled 4 dice that turn. That's like a weird thing to happen given this game state. Shawn, I had mentioned that before, that Shawn is going to try and keep Dane pinned under Magic Missile, under Prismatic Spray and Magic Missile, while he uses the Professor X Global. Dane just gotta reroll those arenas. Since Lord of D-Ring is set up, the Magic Missile basic action is no longer effective. It's best at its energy phase, and that's where Dane's got it. So he should be content to leave it there. But hey, Dane goes big, and if he just gets stuck with a ton of energy, it's really getting stuck with purchasing Venom or Hulk, and those are both pretty good. So on the flip side, where playing Zarina with Venom is bad, playing Venom with Hulk is phenomenal. The ability for people to spin him down is irrelevant because his burst faces mean that he'll be able to deal 3 instead of 2 damage when he takes damage. And that is disastrous news for many opponents. Not just for the scenario where 3 matters more than 2, but for the scenario where, in particular, 6 is the damage you need to get to instead of 4 or 5 from having just the smaller version of the Hulk's damage. Okay. So Shawn passes priority at the end of Dane's main step. Okay, so Shawn is able to spin down twice. Oh no, just once. He only spins down once. That's the game, folks. Dane has got it. Crazy. Such a good game. So glad that such skilled players are having a chance to meet at an event like this and kind of compare notes. Oh. Yeah, Robert's like, wow, I played this guy too. He's great. Always a pleasure to see when players face off in these kinds of games and are positive about the interactions they have. That, wow, I thought this was going to happen. I thought you were going to do this. And there's just pure positivity and excitement to be playing at this level against other people who also clearly deserve to be here. So I'm gonna let the players talk for a moment or two more, but I'm gonna grab Dane. the match slip right now for them, and then they will be. Dan is going to come over here and join me to talk to you guys for a minute or two. Okay, so yeah, they were just commenting as I walked over to grab Dane. Yeah, we thought that game was going to go to time as well. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so I mentioned that Robert was opening a gravity feed next to the game, and he pulled a Constantine Hellblazer, and I love that card. It is one of my favorite cards. So you give that to that guy. Okay. So we got Dane. So congratulations on your win. That was a really exciting game.
Yeah, that was a nail biter for sure.
Yeah. So tell me your thoughts about that game before you go any place else, because we might run out of time.
I definitely misplayed that attack there. I had him pouring it all into the one Black Widow.
Yeah.
And he actually made an amazing play, and I drained my Professor X, and it was an uphill battle from there.
Yeah, for sure. I really get a kick out of your team. I think you and Shawn had some similar ideas, I think, in terms of just trying to focus on Zarina, like focus on a fundamental card and just whatever kind of support. Is that a fair assessment of your strategy, or did you have something else?
Yeah, no, I feel like she's the best card in the game.
Okay.
So when you support her with a lot of great globals, you know, it's almost impossible to lose on the play. On the draw, you know, you still have great utility in your other cards. So.
Yeah, for sure. So have your games really been just defined by strong use of Zarina, or have you had opportunities to utilize some of the support characters a little bit more in your other matches?
The card that I wasn't planning to play today was Morphing Jar, and that guy has been an absolute house.
Yeah.
He's really big. He's a great, you know, extra mass for Professor X, allows me to get all 8, you know, in the prep area constantly. So.
Yeah, I had seen you talking to somebody else about how much you like Morphing Jar earlier today, and I hadn't really experienced so much of him in my games. And we watched the game, and I was really disappointed that he wasn't more exciting here. But I'm glad.
Yeah, I didn't really get a chance for him.
Games. Yeah, no, I think he was the wrong path in many of your situations, and I'm glad you didn't take him for that reason. But
that ring though.
Oh yeah, that ring. The ring
mechanism
is crazy. It's a big lock. It's kind of tough to set up. But I thought your team was pretty prepared for it. That you had the Venom and the Hulk and.
Yeah, no, I felt strong against that.
Yeah.
Hulk is rough because, you know, I can't activate him without him activating him, so that he can just sit back and kill me with Nova. But
yeah,
you know, keep him priority. That's rough.
When he damages you with Nova, the Hulk's gonna go off and.
Well, he can just sit there and shoot them all, right? I'm not sure. We'd all honestly want to.
Oh, so
he'd keep priority and blast me with that, and then sure,
well,
you know, Hulk's gonna kill it. But.
The timing would be that the Hulk just like interrupts the play because it's not you triggering something; it's the Hulk going and dealing the damage. So like as soon as it happens, the Hulk activates.
That's nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but even at that, like then you know you damage Nova, then Nova damages you, Hulk damages Nova.
Yeah, it's just
until someone gets knocked out. But yeah,
all kinds of fun.
For sure. So did you play a WizKids Open event? Or?
I have not. I actually didn't get to qualify for this. I came into Dice Masters a little bit late.
Okay, so what set did you start playing with?
I started playing right at the end of AVX, right when Uncanny was about to come out. I managed to get my hands on a couple gravity feeds and, you know, play around with it.
Cool. So I saw you got one of the WizKids Open's arenas, even though you didn't go to WizKids Open. Was that some judicious trading, or?
No, that was actually I won a contest through WizKids for Christmas.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, it was amazing.
Okay.
So I've got it's signed by the game's creators and everything. It's a
I
great
didn't know
piece.
you had to sign one. Yeah. So for those of you watching this, that should be a big sign to you that you should participate in our Facebook contest, because you can win and you can end up sitting here like this guy with the nicest looking cards. Yeah, I've never met someone who's won a contest before. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it was really neat. WizKids does a lot of great stuff. You guys do a lot of great stuff.
I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, what kind of advice do you have for people who have not been to an event like this? I think this is the one thing I'm trying to capture from all of our successful players.
You want to keep your life on a pad. You want to you want to do that as well. Just, you know, any arguments, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Take your time. Professor X well.
Yeah.
Be very vocal with your opponent. You know, be friendly. You know, jovial.
Yeah.
You know, and just try and have a good time. There's lots of people here. You know, haven't had a negative player yet. It's been a blast.
That's fantastic. I think you see that in any different game, any different skill level, and I'm glad to see that we're kind of exceptional in this way to have such positive, friendly people here playing Dice Masters today. So, What kind of teams are you concerned with facing given your strategy?
Given my strategy, that team in particular is the one that terrifies me the most. If he's on the play and is able to stabilize well, and I'm rolling poorly, there's coming up all fists, then I have a hard time. But I'm not too concerned with many. I split with sidekicks. That's always an interesting match because they can just kill you on turn 4 if they feel like it. The cube, I haven't played against the gelatinous cube yet. I've heard that it's good.
I haven't watched the gelatinous cube play in tournament yet.
Some people have it in their Nova lists, and I don't know if it's good or not, but I haven't seen it yet, so it terrifies me. I think anytime they stick a Hulk is also the worst thing in the world because kills all those Black Widows instantly, and it's
super dangerous.
It's just horrible.
They're like, no, I would not like to spin him down. Let me destroy all your characters.
It's horrible.
Yeah, definitely interesting. So if you had a prediction as far as, besides your own team, what sort of thing was going to do well today, what would you say that is?
I came in knowing the Nova team was going to be very prevalent.
Okay, makes sense.
Nova Control is one of the best lists around. And I think that the mirror matches are very grindy. If I had been playing that too, this match would almost definitely have gone to time.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come in, I wanted to bring something fast that kind of puts that team on its heels quickly so that they don't have the time to recover.
It makes sense. Yeah, there's just a real-life constraint that we need to run the tournament in a certain amount of time, and teams that are going to try and use every single minute of that put themselves at a little bit extra risk.
Yeah, especially when it's a mirror match and you're both good players, you're thinking a lot, and it's horrible.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for joining us, Dane. I think we're almost ready for the next round to go up, so we'll get on that as soon as we can. Good luck in your future matches.
All right, thank you.